Hi and welcome back to the second part of this tutorial. So the next thing that we are going to do is to try and configure the roof. And this can be done by clicking on the Edit Roof button. And when you do that, you will get this new window. And here we can configure how the shape of the roof is going to be. There is no information in the PDF about the dimensions for the roof, so you will have to follow this guide to input the correct values that you should have. So what we are going to do is to insert vortices, and we can do that by edit vertices, and we need 2 points, one over here and one over here, and we can click done. And we need to configure these points manually so that they are aligned correctly. So these points should, for example, this left point here should align with these 2 points, and also it should be in the middle of these two. And the same thing with this point. So if we start with 0.5, we can see here that x should be 0, and then we have the y, and the y should be in between 0.1 and 0.4. That is equal to 10.4. So we can write that one as 10.4. And then we need to configure 0.6 as well. So 0.6 should have x equaling to 0.2 and 3, 0.7, and then the y should be the same as number 5, which was 10.4. Okay. Once we have done that, we need to add parts, and we can do that by clicking add parts. You can start by clicking this middle one, and then you continue, click the next, and then number 2, and then number 1. So this will be one part of the building. You can click make part, and then we need to make the other part. So we can click add part, and then we can choose these points over here, 4, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, let's see here. We can take cancel here. I think if we go, let's see here, add part. Go this way instead. Okay, so it works better. Click make part here. So now we have the roof in 2 parts. The reason why we are dividing the roof into 2 parts is because we are going to do a slanted ceiling. And then we need to decide the height of these points. So the outer edges of the roof will have the same height as the building, which was 3. But for the center part, that is 5 and 6, they are going to have 5. So we change the sea level to 5 and 5 meter for 0.5 and 6, and then we click apply. And then we can close this down, and then we can check the 3D model, and here basically you can actually see the roof that we have made. So it's a slanted ceiling type. And then we can continue. Let's see here. Okay. So the next part, we need to configure the exterior walls in this building. So as you can see, if you click on the 3D model, you see that some of the buildings, or some of the zones rather, have the correct configured wall setting. So for example, these walls has this distinguished coloring, and this indicate that these walls are facing the exterior of the building, compared to these white ones, which are configured as internal walls. But we need to fix that so that these walls that you can see that are facing the outside should also be configured as external walls. And this happens when we do have the exterior boundary, when the exterior boundary is much larger than the zone that we have made. So if the wall is not in close proximity to the external boundary, then the program itself counted as internal walls. But in this case, we will have a porch in this area, and we will have some little garden here, and here is just an entrance. So we need to fix that somehow so that the software knows that this is actually facing the external environment. And we can do that by clicking on the zones, back to floor plan, and for example, we can start with bedroom 4, as you can see here. So for example, this wall should face the external, and then you can also check, let's see here, which face this one should be connected to. So as you can see, this side is called F4. So what we're going to do is to try and connect this to the face F4. So double click on that, and then you can click on advanced and then connect to face, and then you can choose F4. Once you have done that, you can close this down, and then we can go back to 3D view and see if the change was implemented. And here we have the building, and as you can see now, this is correct, and we have an external wall. So you need to do this for all the zones that do not have the correct setting for the external wall. And for example, this one, double click on it, then click advanced facing F4. And continue. So this should not take that long. Okay, and we can also use, let's see if I can, let me check that one. So this case a little bit special. As you can see, if I double click on this, let's see here. as you can see here, I cannot actually choose this part of the building and only change that. So what I need to do, I need to split this wall into two walls so that I can actually choose what I want on this side and what I want on the other side. And we can do that basically by close down this one, and we can do it here, right click and edit, and then we can insert a new point, which you can do around here, and click done. See how that looks. Okay, we need to also configure this one actually. It's important to know that this zone borders should not overlap each other. If they do that, you will get some errors during your simulation. So we need to configure this one's correct. Edit, draw this line. So it should be like this. And so now, if I go into 3D view, let's see here. Okay, we have it there. Now I should be able to just double click on this one and choose face F4. So this should be correct. And then we can continue with the other walls. Remember to check your faces. So here, if you're going to change these walls, they have to face F1, and we can do that. So this one should face F1. This one should face F1. Okay, this one should face F1. This one also. Okay, and again, this building, you can see here that we need to split this wall. So you go back to floor plan, and okay, here you can see we actually need to split this one. So we can change this section here, and I'm going to edit. I'm going to add 2 points, one over here and one over here. Done. Okay, so now I can actually choose this part of the building and change it. So if I double click here, let's see, I can choose connect to face F1, and also here connect to face F1. Okay. There are some small configurations I need to do. You can see here there are some fine-tuning of the exact positions. As you can see here, for example, edit, I need to move this a bit, and also move this one a bit actually, so it fits. Done. It's just small edits so that it should fit more correctly. Okay, so we have done this side and we have done this side, and now we have actually the front left. And if you check the this should be phase 3, so you can just double click and change to phase 3. Okay, continue changing these to phase 3. Okay, so what we have left, we have this part, this and this. For this part we need to actually split up. So what we also need to do actually, we need to make sure that our borders does not overlap. That's also important to keep in mind. For example, here it seems like I'm actually crossing this external border, so I need to edit this one and pull it down a bit. Okay, so we still need to add actually edits. We need to add points here, one here, and we need to add, let's see here, done. I need to add this one as well. Done. And I need to add over here as well. Done. So now I should be able to choose these walls as well and connect them to phase 1. So double click on this one, connect phase 1. Double click on that, connect phase 1. And also double click on that, connect phase 1. Okay, so now we have all the faces correctly configured. So what we can do now, we can actually, let's see what we have here. We can actually check our objective, and we can check the project paper. Okay, let's see. So here are some of the settings that we need to do basically. So we can actually start doing some of these already now. House location that we can find in the general tab. That should be Stockholm Bromma. So we can choose, let's see if I can load from database. Here we have Stockholm Bromma. Click OK on that. And then we should have some setting for the external walls. And this we can do actually in defaults. External walls, let's see here, open. So let's change it to these values. We should have, see, a 30mm gypsum. So what we can do is basically we can add, let's see, how many layers do we have here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we do not need to do that actually. We can delete this one. We can just change this one. And we can do that by choosing the material load from database. You can pick gypsum, and then also it should be 13 millimeters. Need to change this one. This is actually 10, and then we have 13 millimeter. Clicking OK here. And actually we need to change more. And here we need 10 millimeter of insulation. You can change that to, let's see here, I can take load. And we can take, go with the light insulation. And we should have 10 millimeter, which is already, no, it's not actually. So this is 10 millimeter. And then the last one should be 120 millimeter brick. So we need to change this one, load, pick brick. And the thickness should be 120 millimeter. Okay, so now we have our external wall. We can actually change that to external wall, and then we can actually click OK here. So because we changed the default setting here, this should actually update on our house all the zones that uses this external walls. So for example, if I want to check this room, and as you can see, this part of this room has an external building. Now I want to check if that really changed. I can double click on this and go to advanced, and I can check did it really update for this building. You can take it to open, and here you can see the changes that I made. So, and this is true for all the buildings that have the external part. And the same thing for the internal. So we're going to check here. Internal walls should have this configuration. And we can check that by going to general, default, and change this value. You can take open. So we need to change this. We have already gypsum. Let's see here. Yeah, we can. It's the same, but you can take the gypsum example here. Click OK, and that one should be 13 millimeters. And then we can delete these two air gaps and just click light insulation, and that one should be 10 millimeters. And then we have the gypsum, and that one should be 13 millimeters. Okay, so click OK here, and it's updating all the zones now for this setting. You can also, if you want, change the description to internal wall. Click OK. Okay, and then the next part is the windows. we're going to have 2-pane glazing clear. So let's open and pick. Actually, we need to change this one. So we need to load from database, and we need to pick 2-pane glazing clear, which is this one, and click OK. And here you can see the U value and all other parameters that this specific Windows has. So click OK here. And then we have the wall, the door construction here. We can actually just leave it as is, because some of the doors, actually we can have it on inner door. Let's see if I have not picked here, but you should start with having the door construction as inner door, because we have not added any doors yet. So all the doors will default to inner doors, and we're going to manually change the external doors. Integrated window shading, we are not going to go into, so just leave this as is. Okay, and then we have the floor here, which should be this one over here. Let's see. And this one should have 16mm wood plus 30mm insulation. So change this one to wood. That should be 16mm. And then we have insulation. Light insulation should be 30mm. Okay, and this is the floor. Okay, click OK here. We can change. This is not that important for this case, but you can just click external floor. Okay. And then let's see. Oh, it's correct. And then the next one is the roof to fix. So click open here, and so this one should be wood. Change to wood, and this one should be light insulation. So the wood is 20mm. And the light insulation should be 30mm. And then this is the roof. Then I can click OK here. Okay, so at thermal bridges, we have to change. So another thing to remember is actually we're going to use district heating in this building. And so the heating and cooling and domestic hot water should be set on, these two should be set on district heating. For the domestic hot water, you get two choices. Let's see here. You can either get district cooling or district heating, and this should be district heating. Okay, and then you can click the close button here. the site object should not change anything, because for this project we don't have any direction that the building is facing, so we just leave it as is. The next one is thermal bridges, and as you can see, thermal bridges should be set to all at typical. So we have none, good, typical, poor, and very poor. These are the different levels that we have. So for this case, we're going to set all the settings at typical, which means this house is just at normal building standard, nothing special, and it will have some leakage through thermal bridges. So close this one down, and then we have the wind during flow, which we need to set. We can check the ground properties first. This will be the setting that we are going to use, which is the default one, and we are not going to change that. So here is the infiltration, and we have to use, let's see here, the unit we are going to use here is a liter second and square meter, so we need to change this one. Let's see here. This one should be liter per second to external surface. And air tightness should be at 0.3 liter per SNN2. So we change this one. So liter, 0.3 liter per second and square meter, counted on the external surface. And the pressure difference should be 50 Pascal. So this is done. We won't change any of this part here. Click down, and then continue pressure coefficients, autofill with semi-exposed, which is this one. So autofill, semi-exposed, close down. And then the ventilation. So we need to configure the ventilation, and this can be done in this area, HVAC system. If we click on the air handling unit so that it's marked, and then we can click replace air handling units, and then we're gonna choose return air only. So here we have return air only with no supply side. Click OK. So now that I have changed it, this is how it looks like, and we have return airflow only. Okay, and the configuration for this should be 0.35 liter per second and square meter, and this can be done in several places. So let's click on a zone here. As you can see here, we can change it over here, and also you can change it over here. So the easiest way actually is, because this is a large building, and we want to have a simplified simulation, we're going to actually have ventilation in each room. Normally, when you design buildings, you actually have the ventilation in some of the rooms, especially when the building is an apartment or a smaller house. But if you have a very large house, or you have office complexes, then usually you will have ventilation for each room. But for our case, we are going to use ventilation for each room. So we did not have any supply air, so we're going to change all of this to 0. And again, you can either do it for each of the zone manually. Actually, this one is also manually, but you have to double click and go in to each zone and change. For example, if I go to 7, I change it here, and then I shut it down. You can see that it got removed here. But the faster way is just click here. If you know the supply air should be 0, you can just write 0 on all of them. This will go much faster. Okay, so we have total 0. Then let's see here. Okay. So the next thing is the return air should be 0.35. And let's see if we can copy this one. Let's see here. Copy, paste. Okay, we have to use the mouse here. If I can, no, I just have to do it single. Okay. So you just copy paste these numbers. Paste. There we go. So we have finished all of these. You can just double click here, and we can see that it's correct. Another thing we need to set actually is the, see what we have here. The indoor temperature should be at 21. And then this can be done actually if we go inside zone 1, and then we have to go inside the controller set point, and here we can set the temperature for the room, and we need 21 to, can choose here the maximum temperature should be 24. So this is the temperature range that is acceptable in the room. And then the mechanical air supply, we should not have anything there. And the mechanical return airflow should actually be 0.35 at minimum and as well as maximum. And these other settings we do not need to change. Click OK here, and then we click down here, and you can see actually we can the cooling setup for the room for the thermostat, we can change it already here. So if we do that, it can save some time if you know that you have the same temperature, or if you want to input any other temperature, it can be done as well. But for this case, we need 24. And let's see here. We also need to set the mechanical airflow. We can copy this one. So this one, actually, we need to do it. Let's see here. Okay, we need to do this one manually, actually. Okay. Let's see here. Can I change? Okay, I cannot. So I have to do it manually. Let's see here. Wondering if I can. Let's say 0.2. Okay. Or you can actually, I save this one as set 0.2. So if I go inside here and I choose set 0.2, then I should have the correct values. So it will be a little faster if I can just choose in that way instead. So I'll just click set 0.2 here. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna pause until I finish. Okay, so I finished all the zone. You can just double check here, set 0.2 and so on. So I've changed that. And the next thing we need to do is to check this one. Lights. All rooms should have 40 watt together with a schedule. So if we check lights, let's see if I can choose it over here, units. Okay, let's see here. Internal gains. So we check the internal gains. As you can see, we have several types here. So we can check. We need to change lights, equipment, and also radiators. We need to actually install radiators under the window. Okay, so let's start with the light. You can sort by type, so we can get all the lights here. And then it says that all rooms should have 40 watts together with the schedule. So what we can do is basically double click on the first one here. We should have 40 watts. And then load from database, and I'm going to pick house living example. So this is the one that you should pick. Okay, and then close it down. So as you can see, we have it here, and then you can just continue using the same for all of the others. It's good to work it's good idea to work in this panel, if you have like a list that you know what power you have in each room. But to make it simple for our purpose, we're just going to use the same watt in each room. So just input all your values, and then because here we chose already, so we will get it in this menu, so you can just click and pick it very fast here. See if I can, oh yeah, I have to click it one each. Okay. And then equipment. Okay, so kitchen and family room, study room and laundry should each have 100 watts with the schedule. So now when we start to have different equipment in each room, some should have something and some should not. It's a good idea to actually fix our zone namings. As you can see now, we just have zone 1 to 21, but we don't actually know what is what, which one of these are, for example, the kitchen. So we should really fix this one as well. And we can do that if you go back to the floor panel. We can check here, for example, if I hover over this one, I see zones, so zone 7, that's over the study room. So I can go rename, I think, yep. So right click and rename as you can just write study room, click OK, zone 19, family room. And all the other rooms as well you should change. Actually, I see something that we have done which is a little bit wrong. This zone over here should actually not be there. This is actually a porch area. So you have to actually move this one. So okay, click. Let me check the drawing. Okay, so there was a mistake here. This zone should not actually be there because this is a porch. So what we need to do, we mark this one and just click delete. So this one will disappear. Let's see here. Okay, and then we need to actually also fix the walls now. So we can actually, let me just fix this one. Move it like this. Then edit again to add 2 points here. Then draw this one out like this. Okay, and then we need to configure the walls. So we go back here and see, okay. So as you can see, we actually need to fix these walls. So what we're going to choose is, let's see here, they should face F2 here, as you can see. So we go back to 3D and click connect to face F2. Not that one. That one. Let's see here. This one. Okay. This one as well. Then we have like a few small ones. Let's see here. We need to, let's see, I need to go into the floor plan. I need to check this room. Okay, so I need to actually insert a point here. Click edit and insert a point here. Done. Now I can actually click on this. Okay, I just want this part of the building actually. See if I made it correct. Edit, maybe I need to move it a little bit. Done. If I click here, maybe can I? Okay, now I can choose it. F3. Oh, actually, it should be F2. It's F2. Okay. And then go back to 3D. You can see that we have some gaps here. We are going to fix that a little bit later, but for now we're going to leave it like that, but this can be fixed. So we continue fixing these walls, F3 and F3 here. Okay, so now we have fixed that. And let's see, this wall also needs F3. Okay, this looks good now, and then we continue from where we left. Okay, so we actually need to fix our naming here. So we have the family room, we have study room. This is actually just a storage room. And let's continue here. We have the breakfast and the kitchen is the same. Just gonna rename it to kitchen. Have the sauna. Master bedroom. Okay, I think I made a mistake here. I'm just gonna fix this one. Rename. This should be master bath. This one should be the master bedroom. Then we have the garage. Have the hall. Laundry room. Dining. Livings. Bed This renaming, you could actually do it, we could have done it when you created the zones. But it's also good to know that you can do this if you need it. So in our case, you actually need to fix this. So bedroom 4, we have, no, not this one. Bath 3. See what we have here. Bath 2. Okay. So this we can rename storage 1. This is actually master bathroom, bath 2, 3. You can call this one bath 1. There's a lot of bathrooms in this house. Okay, this one should be storage number 2. So I have, this one should be storage 2. Okay, we can also quickly check if I have renamed everything. We can do it by go to the general tab, and here we can see, click on the name, and we have one zone, zone 1, which we have not renamed, so I need to find out where that is. Let's see here. Okay, let me check here. Where is that zone? Need to find out. See if I... So we have one zone here. I need to find out where this zone is actually. See, it's actually, it's almost as big as the master bathroom. Okay. So where is that one? Let's see here. That's strange. Let's see how many zones we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 zones. How many do I have? Okay, so this is, let's try and delete this one actually. And see if anything disappeared. Nope, nothing. It could have been this zone that I deleted actually. So yeah, because now it's actually gone. Anyway, let's continue. So now we have all the names for the zones, and then we need to kitchen and family room. So the easiest way is actually going to the General tab, Internal Gains, Type, and then we can check all the equipments here. So kitchen, family room, study room, and laundry. So we can start to remove the equipments for the others that do not need that. So we can delete these ones here. We can delete delete. See here, the kitchen we need kitchen, family room, study room, laundry. So we have all the four, and then this one should have 100 watt with schedule. So I picked the first one, clicked 101, and then schedule house living. Close it down. So same thing for these, 100, 100, 100, house living, and house living. Okay, the next one is the heat, which in this case we need district heating. So we should have radiators that are connected to district heating.